way. So I actually never heard of the Gold Digger before. Crazy, I know. So I thought I might take a look at the author, Fred Perry. Let's see here. Huh. Oh my god, what the... Welcome back to the channel. I am the Pumpkinator, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Gold Digger comic series because it won the poll. Look at you guys do have a say. Written and drawn by Fred Perry for Antarctic Press, Gold Digger is a one-of-a-kind type of comic. It's the most extensive, long-running, self-contained comic book written by its creator in US history. This is like our One Piece, except instead of Luffy, we got a baddie. Come aboard and bring along all your Gooner dreams. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Anyway, Fred Perry is one committed man. He came up with the initial idea when he was on his tour of duty during the first Gulf War. When his tour was over, he released a one-shot of Gold Digger in the AP Magazine, number 11 in 1991, which is 6 years before One Piece came out. And the story was all about an ultra-intelligent archaeologist that uses her inventions on her adventures. Oh, and her adoptive sister Brittany is there too, and she's like a cheetah thing. After this, he released a 4-issue miniseries that spanned from 1992 to 1993. Then he began his monthly black and white series that went up until 1999, because that is when they swapped to sweet, sweet color. Perry says he got his inspiration from Indiana Jones, different types of manga, and Doctor Who. And the inspiration from Doctor Who comes from a more like episodic, more self-contained stories than like, you know, story elements. But he didn't start doing that until issue number 101, because he wanted to make it a little bit easier for new readers to jump on, which is so fair. As a new reader, thank you so much. After trying to go through 30 years of comics in 1 week, jeez, dude, he's got a vision and he let it out. But that's enough about the comic's backstory. Why don't we get into the content? Why don't we start with the first all-out comic that came out in 1993? Because I can't find the one-shot or the miniseries. I hate it here. The issue starts with Gina, our super smart scientist, and her sister spy on some dudes that are at an entrance to the tomb. Those guys, they're arms dealers, and they're trading weapons from the black market. But then they hear Gina suddenly sneeze, which alerts them to their location. They start shooting rockets at them, so Gina calls for a Gina-mobile and makes their hasty escape. But they're not out of the woods yet because they're getting chased by turbo tanks. But Gina just kicks up some dust and escapes their vehicle. Then they head back to the worksite. They enter the tomb where Gina finds some writing on the wall, and the cipher said it's telling her to press the button. Doesn't seem right to me. Well, it turns out that she read it wrong because the room starts to rumble and the floor starts to open up into a lava pit. But there's no worries, because Gina uses one of her inventions to blast the wall, allowing her and Brittany to escape, and then safely from Gina's backpack. Also, they're calling her Cheetah right now. Ignore that. Her name's Brittany. When they land, Brittany spots 2 corridors, which means they gotta split up. But don't worry, because if Gina runs into any trouble, her sister can speed over in less than a second. When they're on their own, Gina finds a strange ancient device, and Brittany finds her boyfriend, Stripe, who teleported there because he was worried about her. She's also a little confused, but he gets to work. He starts to seduce her, and things get a little bit steamy. And it's pretty hot. Am I a furry? Oh no, I watched Beastars! Stripe says he knows what she wants, and her presence is delicious, and then gets like me when I see my boyfriend. Cutting back to Gina, she investigates this strange device, all while wondering how her dad adopted her sister. She starts to button mash until she hears a voice, and that voice is hers. And then Gina starts to see a flashback, where she sees another were-cheetah getting absolutely killed by Dude Furry. He looks at the baby and then sees a man with glowing eyes watching him. The werewolf guy makes a run for it and the man investigates the home, discovering the baby. That man was Gina's father, and of course, that baby is her sister Brittany. And all that happened during the Were-Cheetah Werewolf Wars that orphaned her, which it seems like she already knew, but I'll overlook it because I'm having fun. The device showed her all this and she decides to play with it a little bit more. Cutting back to Britt, we see that she's fighting off this creep. Turns out it's not Stripe, but a Rakshasa?
Rakshasa.
Yeah, that. A mimic that can take the appearance and abilities of anything that it turns into, including her. She takes down and they beg for mercy. They turn back into their true form and explain that they need to feed off of people's ethereal forces to survive. The
Rakshasa
convinces Cheetah not to kill them and says that they'll show him around. Cutting back to Gina, she finds out that the device is some sort of history machine and is able to record every event that took place after it was made. But she's shortly joined by her sister and the
Rakshasa,
whose name is Jen, and he starts flirting with her, but Britt knocks that shit off quick. Jen asks her how she got the device to start working, and they all start looking for valuables that's within the tomb. But it turns out that everything was taken thousands of years ago, which kind of pisses them off. And that is where issue 1 ends, and if you couldn't tell, it's fun as hell. You can tell that Perry had a lot of fun writing this. And because there's a whole bunch of like magic and also science, there's literally like no cap to what he could do with these characters. And the rest of the comic is Gina and Brittany going on more crazy and vaguely haunty adventures. And a lot happens. Like 6 years worth of comics. You know, I'm not going to be able to cover all of it. And honestly, I would love to, but I right now don't have the time. But to get you guys hooked on the comic, why don't I mention some things of note? First, let's talk about their new sister. When Brittany and Gina venture into a Persian temple, they both pick up a bad luck curse. Gina attempts an experiment to try to get rid of their bad luck curse, but it kind of goes awry, creating a composite clone of the two of them named Brianna. And she's literally like a mixture of the two of them. She has the strength and agility of Brittany and some of the intellect of Gina. And she's pretty cool. I like her a lot. But that's not the only new addition to the family, because Brittany has a whole baby. Her and her boyfriend Stripe have a daughter named Tiffany, and she's as cute as a button. But everything isn't all good for their family, because we should probably discuss one of their major antagonists. The Lich King. Jonathan Digger is Theodore Digger's father and Gina Digger's grandfather. He was a part of a magical experiment that went sideways that turned him into an evil magical being. The king tries to kill his son, but the spell gets messed up and hits Gina's mom, Julia, ultimately banishing her to the Jade Realm for 20 years. Hey, I say a lot of things happen in the comic, okay? But the Lich King's goal is to take over Gina's body so he can control his power more. But he shifts his attention to Tiffany, which Brittany does not like. Super evil. Lots of fun. Obviously, there's a whole lot more arcs, and I can't cover them all, but I will cover the last one. The final arc starts with Gina and her friends leading an armada against the Umbral Maliverse, which is like the super evil universe. The leader of the bad guys is named Dragon Dreadwing, and he's the first villain that they fight in the one-shot. But he kind of levels up, because when he consumes the failing Umbra, he's able to turn the tables in his favor. But Gina has a trick up her sleeve. She creates a time hole that she uses against Dreadwing, ultimately defeating him. And then she kind of like jump starts the Umbra universe, which saves both realities, and they all live pretty happy lives. And I didn't want to go too much into detail about it because, you know, it's the last arc, but I will say this with my somewhat small platform: please read this comic. These characters deserve the absolute best, and I think Fred Perry should be like a more well-known comic writer. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys already know Fred Perry from a different reason. Yeah. But his main project is so fun and full of heart. It's hard not to want to keep reading. So when YouTube starts paying me the big bucks, I'm gonna start stacking up on these comics, and then maybe I'll do like a full entire series episode. Also, the artwork goes crazy in this thing. You can tell that Fred Perry really mastered his craft. Not saying that his art wasn't good before. Hi, this is me editing this. I also found out that they had crossover comics with Ninja High School and somewhat spin-off comics where they follow different characters other than Gina. And I'm like, bro, the grind never stops with you, huh, Perry? Good stuff. I can't wait to read those too. But that's what I thought about the comic, and I would love to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Let me know any other comics you want me to cover down there too. Make sure you like the video, and hey, hype it up so that it gets out to more people. It really helps the channel out, and it's free. And subscribe so I can feel a crumb of validation. But I'll see you guys in the next one, and make sure you tell your family that you love them. Bye-bye now.